So yeah, I woke up. By the looks of it, the D&D session that was supposed to happen on Tuesday mornings didn't happen. So like, whatever. Staying up late last night wasn't super bad for that particular circumstance. I believe that all I have to do for today is drain out my rune energy. No, I think I have to do all of my daily stuff, right? Probably. Yeah, I have to like talk to everyone. Okay, okay. Um. Right, yeah. Almost sometime. Whatever, anyway. So, after, staying up late, only sleeping for a few hours, then doing some Beat Saber, I went down for a bit of a nap for a little while. When I woke up, I noticed that, hey, there's a new notice to enter. People coming in tomorrow morning to change the locks.
That is kind of odd. Like, you would think that with changing the locks... Like, is this something that you'd heard that they were gonna do? Like, other than just, like, the notice
They
of...
changed the locks to the apartment doors a few years ago. And apparently they're also going to do it tomorrow again.
Good morning.
So some people are going to be coming into my apartment to change the locks, and according to the contract that I have signed with my housing agency, they are required to give me, at minimum, 24 hours of notice before, anyone enters my apartment. Anyone,
Yeah.
either anyone who works for them or anyone that they're sending in for, like, fixing stuff, whatever. So instead I got less than 24 hours of notice, and which happens all the time. They'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, in about 16 hours we'll be coming in to do an inspection. I have a signed contract that states minimum 24 hours, so I have half a mind to just like, when the person comes in to try to change the locks tomorrow, say, nope, I wasn't given 24 hours notice. You'll have to come back some other time. But that won't actually do anything, because they'll just open the door and come on in and do it anyway, and be all like, well, too bad, I'm here to do a job. So, whatever. They're going to be changing the locks tomorrow. I'll get a new key to the apartment, and I guess then I'll go and get the new key copied. Whatever, so I can have a spare anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
If
It's just weird that, like, why would they need to change, like, the lock for your apartment specifically?
I mean, I'm imagining that they're changing the locks for every apartment. But it's like, that's something that you do, like, after someone moves out before the next person moves in, you change the locks. Not, after someone's been living there 5 years, you change the locks, like, every 3 years or something. Please don't ever leave, Rune. Don't worry, I don't plan on ever leaving. I can't imagine wanting to live anywhere else. Besides, what would happen to my field if I left? Let me explain. That was a joke.
I am not going to let you marry him.
Locked off up here. Anyway, so I feel like, of course, this is just speculation. I feel like that they're changing the locks because of people who have, copied keys to give to like family or friends or whatever. So other people can't, just get into the building anyway. However, as soon as they give me the new key, I'm probably just going to go downtown, get a key, get that key copied anyway. So, imagine if I had already gone through the effort of getting a key copied, and now I'd have to just go and do it again. But it's like, no, It's like, you want to go and randomly change the locks, give me, have me change up my day-to-day schedule to get a time that works for you.
Morning.
Yeah, to, be here at a time that works for you, because it's, 8:30 to 4 p.m. Most people would be working during those hours. So it's like, oh, you want people to, take the day off work with less than 1 day's notice. After they come home from work, they get the notice, and then, oh, hey, I have to take tomorrow off from work because some random person is going to be in my apartment. I don't know about the grand majority of people, but I'd imagine that person would want to be in their apartment upon hearing that some random stranger is going to be in their apartment. I don't care how much the, apartment people, whatever, trust the person that they hire to change all of the locks, but I want to be here, one, make sure nothing happens, say, to my cat, because it's entirely possible, because as soon as they change the locks, I imagine that they're gonna be keeping the door open. Entirely possible the cat could escape. 2, that they don't steal anything. 3, that I get the new key after they change the lock. Because that seems kind of important. You just know nobody's going to be in the office to hand out keys. Legally speaking, they can't put the key in the mailbox, because... So, what, they just hang the key on the door so anyone can just take it and walk in? What's the plan if the person isn't there? Yeah, no, just leave the key on the counter and, just leave the apartment door unlocked.
Yeah, seems a bit, what's the word? Dumb.
Yes. And again, I still have to ask, why... if they wanted to change, the lock of, the building itself and put in notices that's like, hey, every person who lives in here, you're going to have to pick up a new key, blah, 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 come down to the office, we'll be open for, a solid week between these hours, come on down to pick up the new key, and then, after it's, and then afterwards, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, we'll change the locks or something. But no, it's just, yeah, we're going to need in your apartment to change your lock. And then if you have to be at work during that time, well, screw you. You'll have to just call in tonight or call in tomorrow morning and say, hey, boss, can't come. They're changing my locks. Oh, well, it's of course, the assumption is that somebody who lives here doesn't have an important job. But... So it's not like someone's going to be, a doctor or a firefighter or a police officer. It's not like the person here is going to do anything important. Right? Because not like anyone who lives in assisted housing does an important job, but yet they constantly encourage the people who live here to get jobs regardless. But then make it really hard to actually keep any sort of a job.
Incredibly frustrating.
So yeah, I was just doing a bit of cleaning and stuff just to make sure, because you never know, someone could come in and be all like, oh, well, I can smell, you know, cleaning supplies, so obviously the place is a pigsty, and you're getting evicted. I told you about that, right? At one point, they came in for an inspection, and it's like, oh, I can smell cleaning supplies, and then the next day I had, like, an eviction notice. Because all in all, it's just absolutely stupid. And there's nothing that I, as just a regular old tenant, can do about anything about this at all, ever. So it goes.
Yeah. Okay, my food's gonna be here soon.
Alright, cool. When you order, like, food delivery, do you get it from, like, your outside door, or do they actually, like, come in and go through, like, the hallway?
Yeah, I have them come in. They call me on the intercom.
Just what I want. And of course my vacuum is out of power, so hope downstairs neighbor doesn't mind if I have it on at night, because, you know, whatever. I think once I'm done with this recording, I'll be able to go and get it, and I'll just put that on while I go and upload this video and go take out the trash. And
Oh, you're gonna take me out?
oh, hi, you're back.
Sorry, what?
Oh, you're not back. Okay, you can just hear what I'm saying. And I could hear
I
you
haven't
for a
gone
moment.
anywhere.
Who's a what?
I haven't gone anywhere.
Well, I can hardly hear you, so it sounds like you went off somewhere to, like, the other room.
I'm literally a foot away from my mic.
You are very muffled. Right. So the in guy wants an apple. Apple. Wants an apple.
Buy some apples.
So like I was saying, after this recording, I'm going to run my robot vacuum, go take out the trash. Then we're going to do our typical whatever stuff. And then after you go to bed, I'll go and tidy up the kitchen.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Make my stew, then tidy up the kitchen. Because there's no point in tidying it up before I make the stew.
I suppose not.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, well, it is 2 p.m., so it is afternoon. No unsolved requests other than the ongoing repeating ones that I don't care to do.
Hi there.
I don't think of someone... I know we probably already got this from her, but I just... Meh. Seven six, which I think she was at already. I talked to almost everyone in town. Oh, yeah, it's Friday. The bathhouse should be open today. So let's just do this for a little bit. So it gets num-nums. Yeah, if I ever am actually going to go out for... Gosh, I should do that thing again where I just seriously delve into a game, record like 30, 40, maybe 50 episodes of something, and then just wait, and if I ever have to, like, you know, leave again, I can just start uploading those as semi-daily, or even just daily uploads, and just... Oh gosh. Get super totally ingrained in one game, and then just literally every upload for like a month is just that. Just 60 episodes of one game. Just over and over and over and over again.
Might be a bit excessive.
I mean... Nah. Other than Rune Factory, I don't think any of my Let's Plays have gone nearly that long. Although, Crystal Project did get close. Gosh, I'd love to find another game like Crystal Project. I wonder if the mods are enough. Because I think even Played Up only got to like 20 or so.
Hmm. Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Turns out that a lot of the stuff that we did on Played Up I never actually recorded. And it sounds like you're back from getting your gnomes?
Yes.
Cool. So we have to do more recording again. I sent you a message to that effect.
Yes.
Because Sunday recordings are fine because I'm putting Played Up episodes on, so that's fine for like a month. Monday and Tuesday are either out or about to be out. So we have to decide if we want to do a pacifist run of Alwa's Legacy.
I mean, that's up to you.
If we do one, you're gonna have to be the one to, you know, point me where to go and all that.
Ah, okay, that's what you mean, yes.
Because I believe that there were some very specific things of how to do it.
Yeah, kinda.
So I'd be down for that if you're down for being the guide.
I'll be the woman in the chair.
Yeah. And then I would love it if we could find another puzzle game like Nightfall. Especially if we found a nice co-op puzzle game. And I think I found something in a similar vein to something of a co-op puzzle. But we'd have to try it out and see how well that works.
I'm sure you'll tell me when you're not recording.
It's a VR game. One person is in VR, and basically the other person has the map.
I see.
So basically, I'll be essentially plopped in the middle of, I think it's supposed to be like a forest. So I'll be plopped in the middle of the forest. You have a map. I don't think we'll be able to actually, like, I don't think we'll be able to see what I am doing in there. Because you'll just be, like, on a web browser, like, looking at the map of the game while I'm in VR. So we'll have to communicate with each other so you can tell me where to go.
Interesting.
So we could potentially do it where we're in a Discord call and I, you know, stream my visual to you so you can see what I'm seeing. Or we could try it where you don't get to see what I'm seeing and we just have to rely on communication. However, if I'm in my living room doing it, I'll either have to bring my microphone into... Yeah, how to do this. Either have to bring my microphone and plug it into my living room computer setup with a whole lot of echo in that room, or use my phone to chat on Discord, which you hate when I do. So I'll probably just, bring the microphone into there and set up the Bluetooth earbuds underneath my headphones to listen to VR as well. So I'll have you in like one ear, I guess, and I'm sure we'll be able to figure that out. Set up everything all together all at once. You record yourself via like Audacity, so afterwards I can put both of our audios together.
We can certainly try that.
And then just, hopefully you can send an Audacity file over Discord.
I mean, we just gotta hope it doesn't get too big.
I mean, if it does get too big, you can always, like, cut it in half and send both halves. Or zip the file or something.
I'll cut it in half.
Oh,
Sorry,
turns out I
was that a
didn't
weird
take care of
reference?
my aminos. Nope.
So you got it?
No, I said I did not got the reference.
Oh, I said, was that a weird reference? And you said no.
Oh, I didn't hear you properly. I thought you said, you got that reference? Yeah. Oh, and, also on a note, Chandra is not feeling well today.
Aw, poor Chandra.
Yeah. I hope it's nothing too serious, but she wanted me to tell her if I ever got another, like, notice to enter. Because, she cares about me and wants to help out. So I told her about the notice to enter I got, and she told me that she was too sick to come over. And it's like, yeah, that's valid. She should take care of herself before trying to assist others.
Yes.
Like, sometimes I feel, like, really guilty about acting, like, greedy about things. It's like, for example, someone says, like, oh, it's like, have you been helped enough already today? Is there anything else I can get you? And then you jokingly say, $1 million? And then they go, okay, here you go. And they just hand it over and insist that you take it because you asked for it. And it's like, yo, that was a joke. That was Apparently Azura took great offense to that joke. I'm sorry, okay? I thought you had heard that joke. I know it's a lame joke. I was trying to make a point.
Sorry, Discord crashed on me. I don't know what's going on.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, it's like, can I get you anything else today? $1 million. Okay, here you go. It's like, that was a joke. But you asked for it, so here, take $1 million of my dollars.
What the hell?
Well, okay. Well, anyway. I got lost in train of thought there. Azura's Discord is misbehaving. So, are we gonna try that VR thing tonight again? Yeah. So, do this recording, set it to upload, start the Vroomba, take out the trash, then come back, watch some ponies, maybe not do tabletop sim, all depends, blah blah blah. Because we've been doing like tabletop sim in the evenings, in the nights. Whatever, I finally
Okay,
got a
I'm
Zerd
back
to play
now.
taunt. Oh, hi!
Yeah. Discord is being weird.
Yeah, I know. I was just telling everyone how I finally got you to play the maid game.
Oh. Yes, the maid game.
Yeah, Tonto Kore. A game that I first found out about at Animathon. Because they had like a tabletop gaming room, and they had like, games that you could just grab and play. And I found a small group and we started to play some Tonto Kore, and I got really engrossed with it, so much so to the point that I bought the... I'm not sure if I actually bought it right there on the spot, or if I just, like, picked it up at stores, or what. Yeah, I believe I have basically all of the Tonto Kore, like, product. I even took part in their Kickstarter and got the, was it $100 full foil base set.
Wow. That's... I don't know if that's dedicated or obsessed.
I still have it in its plastic packaging.
Okay, yep, that's obsessed.
I mean, it's not like I'm ever going to play with it, it's just... Because, like, even the box is foil.
That just seems excessively self-indulgent.
It was. Although I wound up essentially cutting all ties with the company because I found out that they follow someone very, very transphobic on Twitter. So I cut all ties with them, but that's after I'd already bought all of the Tonto Kure stuff. It's not like I'm going to just go and burn all Tonto Kure stuff. I'm just going to not buy stuff from the company anymore. To be fair, Tonto Kure was the only good game. I going... Why was I doing this without speed up this whole time? I got some other games from them that were really advertised as being really, really fun and cool and stuff. And then I actually get them and they're like, oh, this is basically nothing.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. Like one that's, I'm trying to remember how it was advertised. A murder mystery game, but all of the suspects have amnesia, so none of them remember who they are, and nobody actually knows who the killer, who the killer is. Not even the killer knows. So going through the game, you have to like find clues to figure out who you were and who everyone else was, and to find out who the killer is. But if you find out that you were the killer, then you have to basically swap sides and try to keep the others from finding out that you were the killer.
So... kind of sounds like Clue.
Yeah, something like Clue, but I mean, even if you're the killer in Clue, you still win by, final accusationing yourself.
I mean, that's true.
It's like Clue, but if you're the killer, you have to make sure that nobody else guesses that, like, successfully guesses. And that you also don't successfully guess.
Gotcha.
So, like, I figured that would be an interesting game to play, right?
Maybe. It has potential.
Turns out it's not that at all. It's more like just a trick-taking game.
Oh.
Like, what's the game, Hearts or something? You have cards of different values in your hands, and you have to, like, put them down, and then you get points, and depending on, like, what, like, values of cards you have out at the end of the game, you can see, like, what quote-unquote character you are, and two people can both be the same character, and yeah, that's just it. Oh, and you need at least 3 people to play it.
Oh.
So I suggested that we should try to find it on Tabletop Sim to play together, but we can't.
Oh.
Oh, what do you know? This is all ready to go. I'm sure that my little minion is going to water all the crops just fine. But I still need to be there to harvest them. Or a board game that's based off of Sword Art Online, where you can play as popular characters from the show and make your way up Ironcrad until fighting fighting famous and popular whatever infamous bosses from the show as you finally reach up to the up to floor 100 and can, you know, take out the final boss in a show of teamwork. The game essentially plays like a Yahtzee. Which sounds stupid, and it is. I believe there are 6 character cards. One person has to play as Kyoto. You can play with as spheres 2 players. But they do actually have some famous, popular characters from the show. Basically, most of the main cast you could play as. And, yeah. Still trying to remember. 2 people go up at once to, you know, fight the boss. You only fight 4 bosses over the course, 4, maybe 5 bosses over the course of the game. Out of a selection of, I think, like, 10, maybe less. You go up, you roll your dice, see how that compares to the stuff you have on your card. Keep dice, reroll, keep dice, reroll. See what you can do for attacks. If you've managed to use all of your dice in various attacks, then you don't take damage. If you don't use all of the dice in attacks, then you take damage from the boss. And then you swap, and then the next person goes and they roll dice to compare to their card. And if you choose like the right combination of characters, then in 2-player mode, I believe you can practically guarantee success. Oh, and then everything that you've worked up to the entire game gets completely switched around for the final boss fight, where instead of actually dealing damage to the boss, you just have to make sure that you don't get hurt by using all of your dice over and over again until the final boss, until, like, you know, 10 rounds have passed or some number of rounds have passed, and then you just win.
Oof.
Something like that. Or maybe that's one of the other bosses, but yeah. The final boss takes everything that you've learned from the 3 or 4 fights leading up to it and just completely changes it around. And so essentially you have to be very, very, very reliant on the entire page of rules that describes literally just that one fight. So yeah, like I said, at least as of a few years ago, Tonto Koi was their only good game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, technically there was another game that was also nice, but that's because it was basically just... It was another deck builder like Tonto Kure.
I see.
But that one is also, like, seriously unbalanced, so Tonto Kure is the better deck builder. A good, like, first turn on that. Whatever. It's a lot more convoluted to try to learn, and a lot more unbalanced over, you know, just getting a lucky turn 1. Or a few early turns or whatever. I trust that you'll water the grass properly. And I mean, I could... Hello, Discord. I could go into a whole argument about the pros and cons of you follow somebody, they follow someone you don't like. Should you unfollow that person? Because to me, that's an obvious yes. Person shows support for someone, you know, you adamantly don't want to support. You shouldn't support anyone who follows, like, that person, right? It seems obvious. Like, say, if someone that you look up to, if some, like, Let's Player or some business or whatever, if it turns out that some Let's Player is a Nazi, you shouldn't, you know, you probably shouldn't be supporting them, or else you're literally supporting a Nazi. But it seems like the majority of people say, no, you're supporting them for reasons that have nothing to do with their Nazism. You shouldn't let their Nazism mean that you shouldn't support them anymore. It's like, so what if one of your friends is, you know, homophobic, transphobic? So what if one of your friends supports a group that says that people like you should be rounded up and executed? They're still your friend. And it's like, I still don't get that mentality, but that's why I'm, what's the official term that was given? Severely handicapped? Because I don't understand why one would support, you know, why I should support someone who wants me dead, or why I should support someone who supports someone who wants me dead. It's just a headache all the way down is what it is. And if you think this is ridiculous, just wait until all of the comments of, but you think people should punch Nazis, and that's also bad. I don't think I need the scythe tomorrow. So let's do all of that. And now everything is going to be perfectly fine. I'm realizing that there were a couple of crops I totally forgot to water, and I'm not about to do that now, so... Oh well, they'll probably be fine. I'm sure they'll be fine. Hey, what was that? Oh, holiday day. What was that spy game that we played a while back?
The co-op one?
Yeah.
Oh, what was it called? I still have it installed.
Yeah, that game.
Let me,
Yeah, imagine that game, but in like VR.
That would be fun. Where is it? I could have sworn I still had it installed.
Tango Project, right?
Operation
Tango?
Yeah.
I was remembering the T, but it's like, no, it's not flipping Tonto Kore. No, it's a 5-letter word, begins with T. It's not Tonto. It's Tango. 5-letter word starting with the T. I think it's something fruit related. Tango, tangerine.
Well, I thought you were gonna
Pardon?
say. I thought you were gonna say it's fruit related because mango.
Yeah. It's like a tangerine mango. It's a tango. Whereas something like Nightfall Hacker in VR would just be stupid. Speaking of co-op puzzle games in VR, keep talking and nobody explodes.
Yeah. We tried that, remember?
Not in VR.
I don't know if you could handle it.
Yeah. I got Sideloader up and working, so I've been playing a couple of new free VR games lately. There's one that I played that takes the boundary area that you have made and makes use of it to its full extent. Now, for those of you out there who haven't played VR, when you set up the VR headset, you might have seen some people, say Let's Players on YouTube, have a whole camera system and stuff. You don't need that for all VRs. The headset itself can track an area that you designate as being a safe area. So you basically draw a shape on the floor. I would say a circle, but you just draw like the edge lines. It can be basically whatever shape you want it to be. I, for one, am partial to the Nickelodeon Splat, but that's just me. And so if you get too close, I think it's like within about 6 inches of any one of those boundary lines, the lines show up in the VR to tell you, hey, you're getting close to the edge of the safe area, be careful. So it's up to the person themselves to designate a safe area and then to understand the limits of what is around the safe area. So you could put the safe area basically, like, suppose you had a perfectly square, empty room that you did for VR. You could put, the lines basically an inch away from all of the walls if you wanted, but then if you go out of the boundary area, you'll hit a wall. Or you could put, say, about a foot away from the wall, so if you go out of the boundary area a little bit, you don't instantly hit a wall. So it's up to the user. I usually like to give about a foot clearance from anything dangerous, like windows, walls, other breakables,
Or me.
stuff like that. Pardon?
Or me.
Yeah, you're not breakable. I've tried.
Or like dangerous things.
Oh, you're not dangerous. But anyway, so what this game does is it takes your boundary area and basically sets up a maze. And you might have seen some of those Portal custom maps where, like, you walk through a hallway, you turn around, and the hallway is completely different now.
Go on.
Maybe Portal, maybe not, but yeah. It's like you walk through a space and it does not map out properly because you're walking through areas you've already been in. It's basically that, but since my boundary area is relatively small compared to most VR setups, I think it's like about 4 feet across on the narrow side of it. The hallways were very, very, very narrow.
Morning.
Ow.
Good morning.
Oh yeah, so anyway, the hallways were super small, so I was basically just walking from one end of my boundary to the other, turning around a sharp corner and then walking back, just over and over and over and over again. Was basically the game. And then, it uses specifically hand tracking instead of traditional, using the controllers. So instead of using buttons to do things, it registers what position the fingers of my hand are in to do certain things. But starting about halfway through the game, it decided, hey, you always have your guns active, and every time your thumbs move, you'll fire a bullet. You can put them away, but then you instantly draw the guns back out again, automatically. So if you ever try to move your thumb, or if your thumb ever moves at all, you'll fire a bullet. Hey, go pick up this thing! By the way, you have a gun in your hand, and you're more likely to shoot it than to pick it up, but go pick it up anyway. And then when it came time for enemies to actually shoot, they came in 2 forms. One, they are so close to right in front of me, and there's like junk in the way, like, non-hostile NPCs, whatever, in the way, so I can't actually reach them with it, and I'm better off literally punching the enemies. Or 2, the enemies are so flippin' far away, I can't reach them at all. So I'm better off just, I can't reach them with my bullets, because there is no aiming. Because remember, it's hand tracking, not controller tracking. There is no aiming, so I'm better off just running through the corridors again until I reach them, and then punching them anyway. So the guns that forced themselves to be basically active constantly were useless. I'm just glad I didn't have to pay money for that game. It wasn't very good. I would be interested in trying it in an area with a much bigger, clearance area to do VR in, just to see if I could, get more room to move around. Yeah. Also, I found something that could be kind of funny to watch people do in something of a party situation. Super epic coaster. Essentially, you just, strap yourselves into a coaster in VR, and you just go through a roller coaster from, the safety of your living room. However, you don't have to be sitting down to do it. You can be standing up and still watch the coaster. So, I kind of want to, have, hang out with some people and try to get people one by one. Okay, just stand here. Maybe put some blankets and pillows around you just in case. Go through the whole coaster and try not to fall down. My own balance is pretty darn good. All things considered, my balance is pretty good, and I almost fell down a few times. I didn't even get to the end of the coaster before I decided it was a bad idea. Because VR messes with your equilibrium. Something harsh. But it'd be fun. It'd be funny to watch other people try it. Yeah. Still waiting on finding a VR Metroidvania game. Maybe someday there's going to be one, but haven't been able to actually find one yet.
Warning.
Woohoo! Alicia loves us more because we talked to her during the festival day.
Hooray!
Yeah, people like us extra if we talk to them during a festival.
Then we're getting close.
Yeah, 7-7. There's nobody inside on the first day of summer. Gosh, imagine living in a small town that has stuff like festivals for the first day of summer.
Certainly would be interesting.
Yeah, just living in a nice small town where you can just get to know everybody. There is some sort of commentary about that, where back, I'd say, I'm just guessing here, back about 50 years ago, it'd be pretty common for, if you lived in a small town, to get to know everybody. Even if you lived in, like, a medium-sized town. You know, whatever. By the time it gets up to, like, a city, like Edmonton size, not so much, but you lived in, like, a town, you just get to know the people around.
Yeah.
Just because you see them so often. Why are they all hanging out in the hospital? Like, you go to the grocery store, you know, get to know the people who work there. The clerks, the shelving stockers, whatever. If you hang around outside, you see people like jogging or walking their dogs or something. If you have a dog, you bring it to the dog park. You get to know the other people who also have dogs. All of this stuff. And I feel like that literally all ended with our generation. Millennials were the last group of people to actually and actively essentially have no choice but to go outside and play during their childhoods, because it was during our generation that, like, technology started getting brought in, like, really flipping quickly, all things considered.
Yeah.
Because, like...
Well, you know, not just that, but also just the fact that, you know, societally, you know, it became dangerous to let your kids just be outside.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily become more dangerous in the past... Pardon?
That's how it was perceived. It's that
Yes.
this is that's what I mean, like, societally, not necessarily literally, but,
Well, so here's my take on that. Within the span of the past 50 years, yes, it has been more dangerous for kids to play outside because, you know, more people around means that there are more predators around and also more vehicles on the road to potentially hit someone.
yeah.
But within the past 20 years, it hasn't really gotten more dangerous to be outside, but within the past, you know, 20 to 50 years, something like that, it's become more publicly known of, hey, we should try to let our kids live. Because you hear from comedians who are like Gen Xers that they used to play with, like, lawn darts. They just take razor sharp darts and throw them at each other. Like, you hear things from, like, 80 to 100 years ago of, yeah, we had, like, 9 siblings, you know, 9 to 10 kids per family, and if 6 of them died, oh well, you know, a few kids managed to live. But now it's like, hey, if one kid dies, that's a real flippin' tragedy, and people actually understand that. And it's not just being, brushed aside or pushed under the rug or whatever anything anymore. So, or like, back when I was a child, I remember, even back when I was a child, so this is only about 20 some years ago, I was allowed to just sit in the front seat of a car. I was like 6. We had a car, it did not have airbags, and because it didn't have airbags, I was allowed to sit in the front seat. And of course, there are people older than me who remember when they were kids, when it was like encouraged to put babies in the front seat of vehicles and stuff, or like babies just didn't use car seats. So like, society has become a lot more prone to wanting to keep kids safe, and people make the joke about it all the time, but like if kids go and like, play around outside, someone's going to like yell at them to go back inside because they're being a nuisance. Whatever, like I think I had those days as a kid where hold on, I have to actually try and remember. I think I did. Where I just like go out with some friends, we'd go, go tobogganing at some random hill for hours and hours and hours, and then come back home, and it's like, oh yeah, I was tobogganing with some friends. It's like, oh, next time you should tell us. Like, okay. Gosh, so much lag here. But yeah, millennials were the last generation who actually got to play outside as kids. Or like, remember moving to an acreage, moving to a new house. And because I was like helping, unpack things, because, I had a lot of stuff to unpack because we had just moved, I heard that one of the neighbor kids had apparently been like quadding up and down the street, looking into the property, like seeing if there was anyone their age who now lives in our property, which there was, me. So I heard about it, and so I went outside, but, there's nothing really to do outside, so I just kind of sat there, bought 3DS, whatever. Just sat out there for like an hour, but it's like, if you think about it, like way back in the day, you would imagine that the kid would literally just go up to the house, knock on the door. It's like, hey, do you have any... It's like, is there anyone like my age to play with? Because like, I remember living at my grandparents' place when I was about 8 years old, and I feel like living there for 6 months really gave me like the quintessential childhood experience. I don't know how accurate or relatable it is, but I distinctly remember the whole thing of like, we just be there like eating dinner or whatever, and a kid would just knock on the door. It's like, hey, can, me, come out and play? Like, that was an actual thing that like the neighbor kids did. Literally just come and knock on our door and ask if I can go and play with them. I feel like that's not a thing that happens anymore. I could be wrong. Well, especially now because there's internet and technology and stuff. If one of my little brother's friends wanted to play with him, they would send him a message over, like, Facebook Messenger or whatever. Or text him and be like, hey, can you come out and play? We can go biking and stuff. Instead of actually going to the house and knocking. Yeah, about time to end off this episode, so I'll end it off with something weird. So, also, I have no idea if this is a normal thing, so I want a bit of insight, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, me, about 8 years old, and this was, I feel like it was a frequent occurrence. It definitely happened more than once. I'd wake up in the morning to find one of the neighbor kids, or a cousin or whatever, just sitting on my bed waiting for me to wake up. So we could immediately go and start playing.
Yeah.
Is that, like, a normal thing? Was that, like, a normal thing, or was that weird?
Um, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, tell us in the comments if you've made all the way to the end of this video, if that's, like, a normal thing that, people did. Because I would just wake up and one of the neighbor kids would be all like, "Oh, good, you're awake!"
Yeah,
That's why I was...
It never happened for me, so.
Yeah. That's why I'm so unfazed by all of the Skyrim memes. It's like, "Oh, good, you're finally awake." No, because that literally happened to me on multiple occasions. I just wake up and there's someone there. It's like, "Hey, let's go do stuff." It's like, "Alright." Be me, 8 years old, doesn't wear pajamas to bed. Predominantly so I can just flat out wake up and just leave. Oh, to be 8 years old again, you know, don't have to put on deodorant, don't have to shower before going out to play, don't have to drink coffee to get energy to do anything, don't even have to eat breakfast, don't even have to get dressed. When I was wearing proper clothes already. Just have to go put on my shoes and we are out the door. So, anything of your childhood you want to share before we end off this episode?
I don't know. My childhood was. Nah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I still remember my parents telling me the story of when I was 3 years old. And I had been, what was it? All we had for, like, gaming consoles was my dad's old Nintendo, like, original NES. And I always made them play with me to read the stuff, because I was 3, I couldn't read.
Yeah.
So I had them read it for me. And so they decided, well, if we're going to be forced to, you know, play the games, we might as well get the latest and greatest in gaming technology. So they bought me a PlayStation 1, the latest and greatest in gaming technology, as a Christmas present. I mean, nowadays, you see 3-year-olds, like, playing on, like, you know, PS5s or high-end gaming PCs, whatever. I still have my very first laptop I got when I was, 11? I'm pretty sure that the RAM is measured in megabytes, if not kilobytes.
Yeah.
Having 1 terabyte of hard drive storage was like a flippin' like dream come true. 1 terabyte was like infinite storage space. I also remember being, and I don't remember the specific age, and I wasn't ever told the story, so I'm not 100% sure if this is actually true, but I'm reasonably certain that around, you know, age 3, 4, 5, somewhere after getting the PS1 and before I got the N64 when I was 6, I learned how to read by playing video games. Oh, right, finale of the story earlier. My parents bought me a PS1 because they wanted to be able to play, like, the latest and greatest in gaming stuff if I was going to force them to play with me. But then apparently once I got the PS1, I just wanted to play it by myself. It didn't help that pretty much all the games I had for PS1 were single player. Spyro, A Bug's Life, Hercules. I still have many of these games. Some had co-op. I made my dad play a bunch of Tiny Tank. It was fun. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I learned how to read by playing video games. Because I think in Spyro, like, the text appears on the screen, but there's also voice acting. Am I right about that? I think the text also appears on the screen. At least with... I'm pretty sure about that. So I learned how to read by playing video games.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
So, when people start saying that I'm a fake gamer, which, yes, people have called me a fake gamer because I'm not, you know, triple prestige day one playing COD. Like, gaming's in my blood. Sure, I've only been gaming for about 28 years, but I'm 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm positive I've been gaming since before I was 1 year old. Like, it's just what I do. I can't just not game, which is why I had to, you know, resurrect this entire Let's Play channel to encourage myself to actually play games, because depression is that severe that it makes me not want to do the thing that I was essentially born to do. Anyway, have a good day.